There are four kinds of men that exist on this earth. Four kinds of men that exist on this earth. In this video, I am going to talk about the least desired and the most desired kind of man. Why is this important to know what the four kinds of men are? It's important because you do not want to spend your time with the least desired men. Okay, the least desired men, least desired men. The first one is the abuser. The abuser is going to contribute very little to your life. He may contribute to one or two bills, but his usual MO is to not contribute to any of the bills. The abuser will always cheat on you. The abuser may physically and verbally abuse you. The abuser is the kind of man that will drive your vehicle until the tank is on E and not bother to put any gas in the vehicle. The abuser will eat you out of house and home and not bother to put a can of beans in the pantry. This man is the abuser. He is in the least desired category. The least desired. He will always cheat on you. He may physically or verbally abuse you. That man, that kind of man is known as the abuser. The next least desired kind of man is the provider abuser. The provider abuser. The provider abuser may pay all the bills, or he may pay 50% of the bills, maybe even a larger portion than that. But why he is known as a provider abuser is because he is always going to cheat on you. He is always going to cheat on you. And in some cases, he may abuse you physically and verbally. The provider abuser is going to be the kind of man that contributes to the bills, but he will always cheat on you. Remember that about the provider abuser. He may pay all the bills. He may only pay 50% of the bills or even higher percentage than that. But he will always cheat on you. He will always cheat on you. Provider abuser. So we talked about the two least desired men. The abuser and the provider abuser. Okay? The most desired men is going to be the good man. The good man. The good man is going to, he may pay all of the bills. He may pay 50% of the bills. But one thing about the good man that separates him from the provider abuser and the abuser is that a good man will not ever cheat on you. He will always be faithful to you. He will not cheat on you. If a man cheats on you, it puts him in the category of being if a man cheats on you and he contributes to the bills, it puts him in the category of being a provider abuser. A good man is not going to cheat on you. And he is going to contribute to the bills. He is either going to pay all of the bills, 50% of the bills, or a higher percentage of the bills. He is going to contribute to the bills in some kind of way. He is not going to cheat on you. He is going to be faithful to you. He is not going to verbally or physically abuse you in any way. That is why he is in the good man category. Because he is going to contribute. He is going to contribute to the bills. He is going to help you out with the bills. He is going to provide in that way. And he is not going to cheat on you. He's not. And he's not going to verbally or physically abuse you. If a man pays the bills and abuses you in any kind of way, verbally, physically, emotionally, mentally, he is a provider abuser. He is not a good man. The next kind of most desired man is the protective man. This kind of man is the rarest kind of man there is. A good man is difficult to come across, but a protective man is even more difficult to come across. When a protective man comes into your life, he alleviates you of all worries. He alleviates you of all worries. He comes into your life, he puts you on his back, and he carries you. He loves providing for you. He loves giving to you. He loves spoiling you. He wants you to be worry-free. He wants you to be worry-free. He wants you to be your softest and most feminine self. A protective man understands the divine and masculine energy. A protective man does not like to see you worried about working a job. He doesn't like to see you worried about paying bills. He doesn't like to see you worried about cooking or cleaning, which is why a protective man has a support system in place to take care of things like cooking and cleaning, to help out with the kids. If you have kids with him, he has a nanny there to help out so that those things are not on your plate to worry about. A protective man does not want his woman worried about those things, which is why he puts you in a protective space, so you don't have to worry about those things. That is why he is known as the protective man. He pays all the bills, he puts you on his back, and he carries you. He does not want you worried about anything. He wants to come home to a woman that is worry-free and happy. A woman who has the time to rest in her feminine energy and take care of her hair, her skin, her body. He doesn't want to come home to a stressed out, worried woman, which is why he puts you in a protective space so that you have the time to take care of yourself, so that you aren't stressed or worried. A protective man has an abundance of money. He makes a lot of money and he knows how to multiply his money and keep his money coming in. What sets a protective man apart from the other men, the good man, the provider, abuser, is he has a support system in place to help with the domestic labor. Now, the provider, abuser may have people in place to help out with the domestic labor. A good man may have someone to come in and take care of that every now and then. Or he may help out with it himself. The good man and the provider abuser may or may not help out with the domestic labor. So the domestic labor may fall on your shoulders to take care of, or your family or friends to take care of. Usually it falls on the woman's shoulders to take care of the domestic labor. When you are with a protective man, he has a support system in place to take care of the domestic labor. So you don't have to worry about that. That's always in place. He doesn't want you worried about those things. What he wants is a woman that is ready to take care of him when he gets home. A woman that has the energy to take care of him when he gets home. He is not the kind of man that is going to ask you what you bring to the table. He doesn't care about your degrees. He doesn't care about your money. He doesn't care about that. He has plenty of his own money. What he wants is a soft and feminine, worry-free woman. And a worry-free woman is a happy woman. A worry-free woman is a soft and feminine woman. He wants a woman that is going to rest in her feminine energy 100%. So that when he gets home to her, she is ready to take care of him. Listen to him, be lovey-dovey with him, and you are going to be with that kind of man because he has put you in a space where you are able to be that kind of woman to him. He has put you in a worry-free setting. You don't have to worry about bills. You don't have to worry about cooking and cleaning because he has someone to take care of those things. That is what makes a protective man the most difficult to come across and the rarest kind of man there is. He has a support system. He is not concerned about your money, about what you make, or any of that. He wants to come home to a woman that is worry-free, that is ready to take care of him. Those are the 4 kinds of men that exist on this planet. And it's important for you to be able to identify what kind of man is when you communicate with him. Is he talking about, when you meet him, talking about he wants to split bills? If he's talking about sharing bills, he is not a protective man. A protective man doesn't talk to you about paying bills. A protective man talks to you about what bills of yours he can pay. He is not talking to you about what your income is, how much you make, how many degrees you have. That's not what he's going to talk to you about. He is going to come into your life and say, how much is your car payment? How much is your house payment? He's going to come into your life ready to lighten your load, ready to alleviate you of worries. If a man comes into your life and asks you what you bring to the table, that is a red flag. But what you do bring to the table that protective men know and will not ask you this is love, loyalty, and respect. That's what you bring to the table. A protective man knows that he is the table, he brings the table, he puts stuff on the table, and he pulls your seat out when you get to the table. If a man asks you what you bring to the table, that is a red flag. And you need to put your running shoes, your track shoes on and run. Because that man is going to be a non-provider and he is going to be a headache. You will be being able to identify what kind of man he is when you speak to him is important, because it is going to allow you to decide, okay, either you want this man in your life or you don't. You're going to keep things platonic, or you're going to move forward in a serious relationship with him. Your time and who you choose to spend it on is important, because in today's day and age, most people are in time poverty. The average person works 50 to 60 hours a week. And that doesn't include time that they spend getting ready for work. That's just time they're spending at their job. That doesn't include the commute time. That doesn't include the things that they need to do to get ready for work. That is just time that they're spending at their job. So you need to make sure that you are able to identify what kind of man he is when you speak to him, so that you can decide whether or not you want to spend your time with him, whether or not his views align with what you want. Being in the dating pool is work. If you want to find someone that is right for you, it's going to be work. You are going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to put yourself out there. But while you are out there with this information, knowing what kind of man he is, it makes things a little bit easier. I am a widow. My husband passed away from cancer, and he left our daughter and I in a good place. He was a good man. He wasn't a protective man. He was a good man. He didn't have the support system in place and I didn't have to worry about paying bills, but I did have to contribute to the cooking and cleaning. There were times and taking care of our daughter, taking her to extracurricular activities, getting her ready for school, her hair, taking her to her extracurricular activities, and helping her with her homework, helping her get ready for school. So I contribute to our household in that way by taking care of our daughter. And he was a good man. He wasn't a protective man, because a protective man has a support system in place to take care of the domestic labor. Where there are times when he would call somebody in, if he would either help with the domestic labor himself, or he would call a company to come in and scrub down the shower stalls, scrub the toilet bowls, vacuum the carpet, sweep and mop the floors. He had someone do that occasionally so that I could take a break, so that I can refresh. So in that sense, he was a good man. He provided for our household financially, and there were times when he did contribute to the domestic labor. But most of the domestic labor did fall on my shoulders, caregiving for our daughter. I was the one who got up in the middle of the night, all night, whenever she cried, whenever she needed her diaper changed. I was the one who did that. Most of the domestic labor fell on my shoulders. Now, there are women out here who are working full-time jobs and coming home to have to do all the domestic labor by themselves. That's not a good position to be in. So when you are talking about being in a relationship with someone, when y'all are talking about getting serious with someone, moving in, there needs to be a discussion about what he feels about domestic labor. Because I am seeing way too many videos where women are talking about they worked a 12-hour shift and their unemployed husband left dirty dishes in the sink for 2 days, and they're coming home to a dirty house. Talks about domestic labor need to be had, because it is one of the things that a lot of women say destroys the relationship or marriage. So when you talk to him and y'all are dating or whatever, you need to get what his thoughts are about domestic labor. Is all of that going to fall on your shoulders? Is he going to have people to come in occasionally and help out with those things so that you can get a break to care for yourself as a woman? Because you need to show up for yourself as well. You cannot pour from an empty glass, and you shouldn't have to. Because you are going to know whether or not you're going to be in that position to do that. Whether or not he is going to have you in that position. What kind of space is he going to put you in while he is with you? Are you going to be having to be a worker and come home and do the domestic labor as well? And even if you aren't a worker, even if you aren't working a job, is all the domestic labor going to fall on your shoulders? Is all the caregiving going to fall on your shoulders? Or is he going to provide help with that, either himself or hire a third-party company to help with those things? Because as a woman, you have to be able to take care of yourself. And if you're always exhausted and depleted from wearing multiple hats, you might not have the time to take care of yourself like you should be able to do. So when you meet with a guy, or if you're talking with a guy right now, what kind of man is he? And you should be able to notice within 15-20 minutes of talking to him. I met a man at a poetry event, and within 15 to 20 minutes of speaking to him, I was able to identify him as a provider abuser. Why? Because within 15 to 20 minutes of speaking to him, he told me that he was going through a divorce from his wife that he had known since high school. And the reason they were going through a divorce was because he cheated on her with her best friend. They had 2 children together. They had been married 8 or 9 years, and they known each other since high school. And he told me he cheated on her, and she took him back. And then after she took him back, their anniversary rolled around and she wanted a $700 ring. And he said he would never spend that type of money on her, even though he cheated on her with her best friend, and she took him back. He said he will never, and he said that with passion. He meant what he said when he said that he will never spend $700 on a ring for her, the mother of his children, who he had 2 children with, and he cheated on her with her best friend, and she took him back. So when he told her that he would never buy her a $700 ring, a few months after that, she cheated on him with one of his friends. She cheated on him with one of his friends, and ultimately, that is what led to the divorce being finalized, going to court and being finalized. So within a 15 to 20 minute time frame, I was able to identify him as a provider abuser. They shared bills together. He cheated on her. And when she cheated on him, he became verbally and physically abusive towards her. He told me that he had slapped her across the face. for cheating on him with one of his friends. When you speak with a man, you will be able to, when you communicate with him, because he's going to talk. If he has a history of cheating, more than likely, chances are very high that he is going to cheat on you, making him either an abuser or a provider abuser. And don't think that you're special and he's not going to cheat on you. Usually when people cheat, they don't stop cheating. They get better at covering their tracks. And these days, with the advancements in technology, you could put an AirTag in someone's car, hide an AirTag in their car, and find out where they are at all times. Someone cheating on you is serious, because if you are being intimate with that person, you need to know what this person is bringing back to you. And you need to be getting tested regularly if you choose to align yourself with that type of person. If you're okay with them cheating on you, you need to know this. You need to be getting tested, because if he's cheating, there's things that can spread through kissing. A person can give you the bacteria that causes cavities through kissing. So don't just think because you're using protection with him that there aren't other things that he can't be bringing back to you. Cheating is serious. It's a matter of your health, and in some cases, life or death. So if he is a cheater, you need to know this. And he is definitely going to either be one of the least desired men, the abuser or the provider abuser, the least desired men, if he is a cheater. The good man and the protective man will not ever cheat on you if you are able to make sure that they are not ever sexually frustrated. They won't cheat on you. They'll go some weeks and some months without it, but don't make it a habit of neglecting your partner's sexual needs. Okay? Because men, they want and need sex. And if you are making sure that your partner is sexually satisfied, you don't need to worry about them stepping out on you. The protective man has a high sex drive. The good man has a high. All men, from what I understand, have a high sex drive. But the protective man and the good man are not going to cheat on you. So sex drive is something that y'all definitely need to speak about, because if he has a high sex drive and your high sex drive is not that great, that relationship is not going to work. Men need their sexual needs satisfied. If you want to keep your man happy, if you want to keep him providing for you, you need to satisfy his needs sexually, especially if he is being a protective man to you. If he has put you in a protective space where you don't have to worry about bills. You don't have to worry about cooking and cleaning, because he has a support system in place to take care of that. So I am going to be making some other videos talking more in detail about a number of things. I am in my 40s. Like I said, I am a widow. Been through a lot of things in my life. I have acquired a very high level of wisdom. I've learned a lot of things in my life. And like I said, I was able to align myself with a good man. The protective man is like a needle in a haystack. So that type of man can be difficult to come across. And you just, if you're holding out for that type of man, you could be out looking for a while. So leave your comments down below, any questions that you have, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.